This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of Rose, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Hi, everyone. Joyce Petrowski, board president and founder of Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. Glad to be back. Was off for, I think, probably 5 weeks. Maybe you had Brian. I'm sure he did a wonderful job at filling in. My surgery went well and recovering. Almost 3 weeks out, so doing really well. But anyways, glad to be back. So before we get started, you can find more information on our website at roseadvocacy.org. On the homepage, you'll find our social media links at the top. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll find where you can sign up for our emailed newsletter and our mailed newsletter. There are links down there. Just click on those and fill out the information, and you will get added to the database. And don't forget, you're going to want to click subscribe to this so you get notified of all of the episodes coming up. Today, I know it was titled Seemingly Innocent Text Can Be Deceiving. And we're going to get to that innocent text in a little bit here. But I just kind of wanted to use this as a refresher to go over some other text messages that I'm sure all of us have received. And maybe even some of us have clicked on the link, called the number, responded to the text. I know we're all busy. And when we're trying to do multiple things at once, you're not thinking fully about whatever it is you're about to click on or respond to. You're just thinking, I can do this in a matter of a minute and get it off my plate. But I'm going to go through a few of them. So your bank, right? Say you get a text message from Bank of America and you don't have an account at Bank of America. So you're like, oh, that's a scam. But I mean, what if you do? I mean, I've gotten these over the last few years, and it definitely makes you take a second look at it because it does actually come from, or it's impersonating a bank that I have an account at. So it makes me take a second look, and I have to stop and think about it and say, was there, in my information's been changed in my account, or my account's locked? What's going on? And so instead of responding to the text, instead of clicking on the link, I had the bank's phone number in my contact list, so I just called them directly. And yes, I do have multi-factor authentication set up with the bank, so they do have to send me I called them, so I knew I was talking to them. In order for them to verify it's me on the other end, they have to send me the code and I read it back to them. But again, remember, I initiated the phone call with an official phone number to the bank. And they can look through your account and give you any information that you need. But most importantly, they're going to tell you, no, your account is not locked. That's a scam. No, nothing has changed. No information has changed on your account, which is what happened to me a couple years ago, was that some information had changed. Some other text messages that come through. This is a big one. I had somebody reach out just recently and ask if if I was still seeing these texts. And it's from, it could be from UPS, it could be from the post office, it could be from FedEx, it could be from really any type of delivery service. But you've missed our delivery. So if you want to reschedule it, click here. Well, you don't necessarily know of every single delivery that you're getting. Some, yes, you do, but others, maybe someone sent you something. Um, and you didn't know that you had a package coming, and right, curiosity. And so people will click on the link, and it's a way for scammers to try to get information from you. But also clicking on a link on a text, right, on your mobile phone, maybe it's going to install malware on your mobile phone, which is another great reason why we need to have um, antivirus and anti-malware software on our phones. It's a mobile computer. And it's going to help us if we clicked on that link and it recognized it as a bad link. It'll give us that warning. We've detected this is a malicious link. And then it gives you can back out of it. And sometimes on our phone, it's extremely easy to click on a link you didn't mean to. You're trying to delete something and you've clicked on the link. You're trying to copy something and you accidentally clicked on the link, scrolling up or down on your phone. Lots of different ways that you can inadvertently click on those links. Some other ones is, get you excited. You've won a $500 gift card to Target. Let's say Target's a big store. I'm sure they do giveaways and contests and stuff, but a lot of people, $500 is a lot of money. Target is a store a lot of people shop at, so they get excited and they're thinking, all right, I'm going to collect this, and they don't think about it. Well, did I ever enter any contest with Target? Have I shopped at Target in a long time? Maybe I should go to Target's official website and find out if they are in fact giving away, gift cards. The toll charges, those were going around like gangbusters, what, year and a half ago, year ago. Everybody was getting them. And, in Arizona, if you got one of those, you just knew, well, if you knew that Arizona has no toll roads, you would know that it's a scam. But, a lot of people didn't know that Arizona had no toll roads. And so they would click on the link, they would pay it. And now their credit card, was compromised. And maybe they ended up having to put in some other sensitive information. Um, uh, on that, where they thought they were paying the toll fees. But you get one of those, who's to say and that's not going to start coming up again. Quiet it down for a little bit and then bring it back out and catch people off guard. Which is what scammers like to do. They like to catch you off guard. And so maybe it says another state, maybe it says Florida. And I don't know if Florida has toll roads or not. I don't travel around in Florida hardly at all. I'm usually just flying through there, so I'm at an airport. But one way to check is just search it online. Does Florida have toll roads? And it's going to come up and it's going to give you that information. And if you were going through that city on that interstate where there was a toll road recently, then find their Department of Transportation and call them and find out if you do in fact owe tolls. One that I had gotten, I want to say probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, was Arizona traffic violations. That I had an unpaid Arizona traffic violation. Now, I knew that was a scam, but in certain areas out here in Arizona, there are these red light cameras, there are speed cameras, and if you're not paying attention, it's just going to do a quick flash and it takes a picture of your license plate and a picture of the front part of your car so they can see who the driver is. And who's to say that that notice didn't get lost in the mail? So, there's different things that you're like in Arizona. Well, did I get caught by a red light camera? Did I get caught by a speeding camera? But you would just look up whatever department it is on the internet, whether it's Maricopa County, Pinal County, Pima County, whatever it is in Arizona, or whatever state you live in, and say, how do I pay toll violations, or do I have a or not a toll, I'm sorry. We were just traffic violation, and it'll get you to the right place where you would go to actually pay those violations. And then you can just um, call them and say, hey, listen, this is my name. I got a text saying, and they're either going to tell you right away that they'll either tell you right away that we don't send any of this information out by text message, so it's a scam. You're going to get a notice in the mail. Or, I don't know, maybe some states and cities and municipalities, maybe they do send something by text message. I don't know. And so then you give them your name and find out if you do have something there that's unpaid. So always going through those official sources. Job offers, those, I haven't seen any come to my phone recently on the job offers, but every now and then I'll get inundated with like maybe 5 or 10 of them in a matter of a couple days. And they're going to impersonate the larger companies like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and all of those, or maybe some larger companies saying they're hiring. Um, and this could happen right at the time where maybe one of these larger companies does have some information out there that they are hiring. So, it happens at the same time for a reason, because it makes it all the more believable. Um, so always go directly to the official site. And a lot of times those job offers, those are those too good to be true, right? You only have to work like 1 or 2 hours a day, um, once a week, and you can make $300 a day. So that's like you're making, $150 an hour, right? I mean, so you have to kind of look at it from that perspective. It just doesn't make sense. Um, Student loan forgiveness. Haven't heard or seen any of those recently, but with all of the student loan forgiveness they were working on at the federal level a couple years ago, it made sense that all those text messages were coming around, because it happened at the same time that they were working through trying to forgive student loans at the federal level. So it made even more sense. So if you're kind of getting um, uh, an idea here that, scammers are going to look at to what's in the news, what's out there, what are people seeing, what are they hearing, to make whatever communication they're sending you, in this instance a text message, seem all the more believable. um, that one in particular might have said, your student loan forgiveness program, it ends soon, you've got to enroll, here's a phone number. Just be very careful with that. You could always call whoever you have your student loan with and find out if there is any forgiveness. If it says it's through a federal agency, call that agency directly, right? Use the official sources. Um, there's another one. A lot of companies now they'll send you these codes, kind of like multi-factor codes. When you go to log in, you might have set it up, but then when you're doing something on their website, they might want to send you a code just to make sure it's still you on there. And so, as I've said in many shows, scammers love to impersonate Amazon, because they are a huge company and almost everybody has an Amazon account, right? So you just might get this little innocent text that says, Amazon, your code is this. If you didn't request this, click this link. Well, you're going to look at it and go, I didn't request it. Someone's in my Amazon account, and you're going to want to click the link right away. But again, pausing and going, okay, I'm not going to believe what I see here on this text. I'm going to go directly to my Amazon account. That is the official source. And I'm going to find out what's going on. Um, we talked about the bank text scam at the beginning. One of the things I wanted to mention on that was, if you go to your bank's official website, A lot of the larger banks have this on their website, but you can check yours if you're not with one of the larger banks or if you're with a credit union. But a lot of times it will tell you that we do not ask for personal sensitive information via text, and that to always call us to verify. So go to their website, find out what they say, how they communicate, before just it. But again, scammers are trying to scare you with the bank text. So now getting to the wrong number text. This is the one that the title of this podcast was really about, was the seemingly innocent text that can be deceiving. Um, and I get these all the time. And I can see how a lot of older adults would want to respond to these texts. I can tell you a number of years ago when I would get these, innocent text that I knew was a wrong number. Absolutely. I would respond and say, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. And I know I would have people say, why are you wasting your time? And I'm like, well, if that was me and I accidentally sent this text to someone by mistake, I would want to know that it went to a wrong number. Um, Scammers know that that's how we are. We're nice, we're kind-hearted. We want to let them know it went to a wrong number so that they can fix it. But no, they're doing that on purpose. So, it could be as innocent as hello, or maybe hello and good morning or good evening. Um, I've received some before that say, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the barbecue on Friday night, or I'm looking forward to seeing you at the movies on Saturday. Just something that's going to, you're going to read it. And your first thought is going to go, oh, well, they have the wrong number. And you're just going to want to quickly, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. Well, that's their way to, get you to engaged. Or you might be like, I'm not going to the movies on Saturday. You must have the wrong number, whatever it is. And then they're going to send something back to you. And then you're going to want to respond, right? We were taught we always answer the phone. So we always answer our text messages. Um, we don't hang up on someone, so we don't leave someone hanging on a text message. We respond. Well, we have to put all those nice, kind-hearted habits aside and say, I don't know this person. I don't know why they're texting me. I have no clue if this is a wrong number, this is a scammer, whoever it is. But to protect myself, I am going to delete, or you could say report junk and delete. Or I'm not sure if it says report junk or report spam, or what it is, but or just report and delete. But you could do that as well, because if you start to engage with them, you're going to continue to text back, and before you know it, you've got this friendship with somebody you've never met. It was all over a seemingly innocent text, which it wasn't innocent. It was planned that way to begin with. Um, and, you know, maybe they want to start talking to you about investing and get you excited about this investment that they've, invested in and made all this money on. Um, because they might already know a little bit more about you based on what you guys have been texting back and forth. Because you're one of 1,000, one of hundreds of thousands, or a million people that are getting this same text. But once you engage, you're engaging with a real person, and then they're using your emotions against you. They're exploiting your emotions, and they're learning. The more you engage with them, the more they're learning about you. So then they can tailor those texts directly to you to get you into this friendship, or it could be a relationship, right? We just had Valentine's Day over the weekend. It could be where they're trying to establish a relationship, as in a romance scam. Um, and then, but they'll, very quickly want to take it to an encrypted app, like WhatsApp or whatever, calling, talking to you. And, you and it all started from this seemingly innocent text. So just know, throw those, I shouldn't say throw those away. What I want to say is just be careful with the um, being kind to people and always wanting to respond, which is like always answering the phone. Is that in today's technology rich world, there are people out there using a variety of technology to get you to engage, to then exploit your emotions just to take your money. It's sad, but it's where we're at in today's world, and you need to protect yourself and just, as I said before, report spam, report junk, whatever it says, and delete, or just simply delete the text. You can also block the phone numbers, but scammers have tons of different phone numbers, and you're going to continue to get those text messages from other phone numbers, but it is an option. Um, and just know that um, if you're getting a text from someone that is in your contacts, right? It's going to come up with their name on the text. Just know that, if the conversation seems off, if it seems weird, if it just doesn't feel right, something is not sitting right with you, well, don't don't press on the person's name at the top of your screen where it has their contact, because that's the scammer texting you. Just go directly into your contacts and your phone contacts and call that person and talk to them and find out what's going on, because scammers have been able to spoof the names uh, for a long time, but now they have the technology that they can spoof phone numbers. And you might say, well, how in the world are they going to know who's in my contacts? And that's a valid point. That is a valid point. It seems highly unlikely that they're going to just get lucky and hit somebody that's in your contacts with as many people as there are in the world. Um, but you have to ask yourself, if I don't have my mobile phone locked down and secured like I would my laptop, my iPad, my desktop, my um I think the Samsungs are called notebooks and stuff like that. If I don't have my mobile phone locked down and secured, and that means more than just um having a passcode to get into your phone, or using your biometric information like a fingerprint or a facial scan to get into your phone. That means the antivirus, anti-malware software on your phone. Having stuff like that to secure your phone like you would a computer, um, that can enable scammers to get into your phone. Maybe it's from clicking on a bad link and you didn't know it was a bad link. Could be from a variety of different ways. It could be calling, a phone number that came, or calling the phone number that came through on a text, and them convincing you to do a few things on your phone, whatever it is. But scammers can hang out in your phone. It's a mobile computer, just like your other devices are. And if you don't have it locked down and they are hanging out in your phone, or they've been able to compromise your phone somehow, do they then have access to who your contacts are? Yes, they do. And then that is a more targeted, where they can actually impersonate one of your friends. And that can even be harder, because if they can already see how your friend is texting with you, they can kind of mimic those texts to make it seem all the more believable. So please lock down your phone, secure your phone. You're going to hear me say this a million different times, but it's extremely important. Lock down, secure your phone. It's a mobile computer. And when you get those innocent texts, they're not as innocent as you think. Delete them. They don't need to know that it's a wrong number. Just delete them. Don't worry about it. It'll save you a lot of time and aggravation and stress down the road. And as we're talking about locking down and securing your mobile phones, have one of the tips that we give in our program is always make sure that you have a trusted tech support person. that person can help you navigate issues you have with any of your devices. Now, the tech support person might specialize in Apple products, so maybe they don't know as much about Android or Samsung products. You might get a tech support person that knows specifically Apple, specifically Android or Samsung, or maybe they know both. But have somebody that you know, like, and trust, because when you have an issue, you're not going to panic. You know who to call. But they also probably already know which softwares for a variety of different things are going to work better with whatever device you have, right? They're already going to know different antivirus softwares, and they might say, you know what, this one is very user friendly. It works well for the older adults that have Apple products. Well, you don't have an Apple, you have an Android, or you have Samsung products, then I would use this product, this software, because yes, it works well for the older adults, but it works better on Samsung or, Android products. They also are going to most likely know about other protections that you can put in place when it comes to these types of softwares. They might already have recommendations. They've used them before. They know how they work. They know their security behind their systems and all of that. So have that trusted tech support person. Don't have one? If you live in a retirement community, ask the people in the office who they use. They trust them. Maybe they do they take individual clients. Talk to your friends and family, find out who they use. If you're just going to, do research online and stuff, make sure you're not just looking at the sponsored ads. You're going down and going below those sponsored ads, and you're looking at others. And if you could just type in, what's the best antivirus software for 2026, you're going to find these tech companies that do these articles, and they update them very frequently, where they've given you their top 5 to 7, and they given you the pros and cons for each one. And they might even say, or when you search, you could say the best antivirus software for seniors or for older adults in 2026. You're going to get an article specifically to that, and it's going to tell you what the pros and the cons. And sometimes it even has a discount code. So there's a lot of research that you can do. Just make sure you're going to the official websites of these places. So that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you back next week. I'm working on a guest for next week, but in the meantime, don't forget to go to our website, roseadvocacy.org. You'll find all of our social media channels at the top. Scroll down to the bottom of the homepage. You'll find where you can sign up for our emailed newsletter and/or our mailed newsletter. You can also download our safety checklist. I am going to be going through on the resources tab and getting a lot of the downloadable resources updated to some more current ones over the next couple months. So you'll see some updates there. We also have a media under the resources. There's a media tab where we've been in we've had interviews done and been in different articles. One of the most recent ones is last Friday, ABC 15 here in Phoenix did a story on romance scams. And myself and one of our other board members was interviewed. And you can see the short video there. You can also read the article. Lots of great information. And don't forget, subscribe so you don't miss an episode of Let's Talk About Scams. Thank you.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.